Most people think red snapper fishing is simple. You drop a bait to the bottom, and you wait. But that's exactly why so many anglers lose fish, or never even get the right bite. Red snapper live on structure. They feed in specific windows. And if your rig isn't right, they will steal your bait again and again without ever getting hooked. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the complete system: where to find red snapper, when they bite best, how deep to fish, what they eat, and which rigs consistently land fish on reefs and wrecks. Red snapper are one of the most important reef predators in the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Atlantic. They grow large, they fight hard, and they stay close to reefs, wrecks, ledges, and any hard cover that holds food and protection. They are not random fish. They follow 3 rules: structure, current, and food. Structure means they live around hard cover, natural reefs, rock piles, coral or limestone bottom, and broken ground where sand meets rock. Those areas hold small fish and crabs, and that's snapper food. Wrecks are another major snapper zone. Wrecks create shade and protection, and they concentrate bait fish. That's why they act like magnets. If you find a wreck with life around it, there's a good chance snapper are close. Ledges and drop-offs are also important. Any underwater edge matters. Where the bottom transitions from shallow to deep, or where rock meets sand, snapper often sit on the high side of that structure and feed upward. And then you have artificial reefs and oil rigs. In the Gulf, oil platforms and artificial reef systems consistently hold red snapper, and these spots often hold bigger fish because they create permanent structure in open water. Now let's talk depth, because depth is one of the biggest reasons people miss snapper. Red snapper can live shallow, but the most consistent fishing range for many anglers is about 60 to 250 feet. Deeper reefs can be 250 to 400 feet and beyond, and those deeper zones often hold larger fish. But here's the key detail: snapper are not always sitting right on the bottom. A lot of the time, snapper suspend 10 to 30 feet above the structure, especially when they're chasing bait. So you don't only fish the bottom. You fish the zone where your sonar shows the fish. If you mark fish above the reef, you fish above the reef. Now, when do red snapper bite best? They can be caught year-round, but there are patterns. In warmer months, generally late spring through early fall, snapper feeding activity increases. Water temperature is higher, bait fish are more active, and snapper tend to bite harder and more consistently. In winter, they still bite, but they often hold tighter to structure, and the bite can slow down. You may need a cleaner presentation and more patience. But the most important trigger is not the season. It's current. If the current is moving, snapper are active. Moving water delivers food, spreads scent, and positions fish. If there is no current, the bite often slows down, and fish can get picky. A lot of anglers only think snapper bite at sunrise, but in deeper water, snapper can bite all day because light doesn't change as dramatically down there. Still, the most reliable bite windows are usually early morning, late afternoon, and especially the moments when current changes. Now let's talk about what red snapper eat, because bait choice matters. Red snapper will eat almost anything, but they prefer high-protein, oily, strong scent food. The top option is live bait. Live bait is the most natural presentation, and it triggers predatory instincts. Some of the best live baits for red snapper include cigar minnows, pinfish, pilchards or sardines, small mackerel, and live shrimp in nearshore zones. And there's a simple rule you should remember. Small bait catches numbers. Bigger bait targets bigger snapper. If you want to avoid constant small fish and target better quality snapper, scale up your bait. Cut bait is the second big category, and it can be extremely effective, especially when current is present. Squid strips, mackerel chunks, sardine chunks, and bonito strips are some of the best. Cut bait creates a scent trail, and in moving water that scent travels far, pulling fish into your zone. Squid deserves its own mention, because squid is one of the most universal snapper baits. It stays on the hook well, it has scent, and it resists bait thieves better than softer baits. Now the rigs. To catch snapper consistently, you need a rig that gets your bait down fast, keeps the presentation natural, and helps you control the fight so the fish doesn't dive back into structure. The most popular rig is the fish finder rig, also called the Carolina rig. It's simple, effective, and works on most reefs. The basic setup is braid mainline, a sliding sinker, a swivel, a leader around 3 to 6 feet, and a circle hook. Hook size depends on your bait. If you're using shrimp, you might use something like 2/0 to 4/0. For bigger live bait or cut bait, 5/0 to 8/0 is common. Leader strength depends on structure and fish size. A rough guide is 40 to 60 pound leader for normal reefs, and 60 to 100 pound leader for heavy wrecks and bigger fish zones. That stronger leader helps against abrasion when a fish tries to rub the line against structure. The second rig is the dropper loop rig, often called a chicken rig. This rig is excellent for snaggy bottom and for keeping your bait slightly off the reef. It also helps when smaller fish are stealing bait right on the bottom, because you can position your bait just above the structure where snapper feed upward. The third rig is the knocker rig. This is a great rig for strong current and wreck fishing. It drops straight, tangles less, and gives you more direct control. If you're fishing deep water and current is heavy, the knocker rig is a workhorse. And the fourth approach is jigging, using slow-pitch jigs or flutter jigs. This can be extremely effective when snapper are active, when you want to avoid bait thieves, and when you want to target larger fish. The key with jigs is the fall. You lift the jig, you pause, and you let it flutter down. Many snapper strikes happen as the jig drops, so you want to stay in contact and be ready. Now, let's put this into a practical, step-by-step system. First, you find a reef with life. Look for bait fish on your sonar, structure edges, and bottom relief. The more life you see, the better your chances. Second, you position your boat with the current. You want your bait to move naturally toward the snapper zone, not drift away from it. Third, you drop down, but you don't stay stuck on the bottom. Touch the bottom, then reel up 10 to 20 cranks. This places your bait into the snapper feeding zone above the reef, and it often increases your bite rate dramatically. Fourth, the hookup. If you're using circle hooks, do not jerk hard. Let the rod load and then reel steadily into the fish. Circle hooks are designed to catch the corner of the mouth when pressure is applied. And finally, the most important part, the first 5 seconds. Red snapper will try to dive back into structure the moment they feel the hook. So once you hook up, you keep heavy pressure, you reel hard, and you lift them away from the reef immediately. If you win the first 5 seconds, you usually land the fish. Red snapper fishing is not random. It is structure, current, and presentation. If you match the right reef,
the right depth, and the right rig, your catch rate goes up fast, and red snapper becomes one of the most consistent reef fisheries you can target.